I think this goes back to what I said last night. I think we're establishing some positive things of how we want to play. And I think you could see that in like the last 5 to 6 games, even 7 games. And that was not what we have been doing in that stretch. And you address it, you look at it, talk through it, and then you get ready for the next one. So, no, not what we liked.
What do you notice in the moments where your team doesn't meet that standard or isn't playing with the level that they want consistently? Is it a lack of attention at times? Is it like zoning out a little bit, or is it a execution thing? What do you see?
It always goes back to executing the fundamentals of the game. Can you get back in transition defense and communicate? Can you communicate the coverages? Can you do what you're supposed to do offensively in terms of spacing and pace and ball movement? It's generally those things that always stand out when you're not meeting to the way that we want to play, and those are the things that stood out last night.
How did you approach practice today, the day after a game like that where you don't meet your standard?
Decent amount of film work, mostly film work today. We've played obviously a few games here, 3 and 4, and then we're playing tomorrow, so a lot of film work today.
Is there any update on Alex's status?
No update, no.
With a night like last night and having a positive first half and I think it was 6 or 7 at halftime.
Yeah.
How do you try to, if you can, in that moment of the second half, try to alleviate the well opening as quickly as it did to try to shorten these games happening more and more to happening less and less to where it's just now it's instead of it being a half, it's now just a quarter, and we can withstand kind of that barrage in a quarter, and guys are understanding how to withstand that type of a run from a team?
It's usually just focus on what you can do in the next possession, what you can control. And that's usually the stuff that we just, Varun just asked about is, what's your communication looking like? What's your physicality on defense? What's your ability to finish plays on the defensive end with a rebound? What's your pace and your spacing on offense looking like? We made a change in the game in the first half because we did those things better. Like, we were down in the first half. We weren't playing great either. And then we had like a 5 to 6 minute run in that second quarter where we started changing the momentum of the game by focusing on the things that we know that lead to success. We just didn't carry that over in the second half. We had an opportunity to do that, but we did not. And then that kind of piled on.
Is that, I don't know if risk is the right word, but maybe is that kind of the give and take that you can experience with a young team where there is that little drop where they don't do it, but then they've had stretches where they do, and it's just trying to get them on that horse to keep going and focusing on like, okay, when we do it, we've shown ourselves we can keep doing it. We just now have to find ways to, when the team has that run, how do we respond and respond quickly?
Yeah, I think that we had some good lessons in the Milwaukee game. We're down 16 in that game. Not shooting the ball well that game, but we stayed with what we were doing. We never dropped our energy level or momentum. We kept doing the right things, and we trusted what we were doing. And then the game flipped because we just continued to just battle through that. And sometimes every team goes through that. Really good teams where we're in the stage where we're trying to establish something. Like, you're going to have runs. That has happened. You're going to get hit with adversities. How do you get back to what you want to do as quickly as you can? That's a big thing in any sports, and specifically our league.
Brian, when you see things that you don't like on the court, or you see an error, you often call timeouts. You're not shy at calling timeouts.
Yeah.
When you do that, is it just to give guys a chance to reset, or do you correct the mistake in the moment? We can't hear. We'd love to hear what happens in the huddle, but
I'm sure you would.
But can you give us some kind of?
I think it's probably all of the above, Josh. Like, you're reading what the team needs in the moment. Sometimes it's a real specific thing that had just happened that we need to make a correction on. Some could be, hey, this is not up to the level, and we have to address that now. Some could be where, hey, we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to move on to the next possession, what we need to do offensively, and focus on the things we can control. I think those are just things that we read throughout the game, but it's usually mostly, I would say 99% of the time, it's a constructive, fundamental thing that we talk about.
How do you balance wanting to give players the opportunity to work through their mistakes, but also not wanting to let those mistakes not go accountable when it comes to like playing time and stuff like that?
Well, I think we'd actually do pretty good with that. The biggest thing is every team makes a mistake. Boston didn't play a perfect game last night either. So those are going to happen, but are you doing it with the intent of within what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish? If that doesn't reach that, then obviously guys come out, and that's just normal. And we do that. Every team does that. But we don't let people just play through things that aren't to how we want to play. That gets addressed pretty quickly. And I think that's what it was a little bit last night. We weren't up to the standards that we want to establish for ourselves. And that was that game last night.
Coach, last night, post-game, similar to what you're saying right now, you said, that's not who we are. We hold ourselves to a higher standard, and we need to reevaluate what we're doing. When you say reevaluate, does that mean changing practice methodology or changing on-court effort? What does that refer to?
I think you're always, as a coach, you always got to look at yourself first. I think, and we talked about that as a team, we always got to look inward here. We're not pointing fingers at anybody. So it's like, what can we do better? And we're always trying to refine. We have a structure for how we do things and how we work, and I think that stuff is really good. But we always got to challenge ourselves to be better on the day. And I think that's a really healthy environment. That's something we want, and we challenge our players to be that way. So if I'm going to challenge them to be that way, I'm going to challenge myself to be that way. So it's not like a reevaluation. We're going to change everything that we're doing. But where can we look at things? Where can we improve? Where can we be self-critical? I think those are the things that turn you into what we want to be, and that's consistent winner.
What was your rationale in starting Jamir last night? I think after the loss, we didn't quite ask you that question in those terms.
One of the things, he had gotten a little bit good opportunity with Cody down in the go-go. We wanted to see what he could do against some of their top flight players, and I actually thought he was really good. You could see his imprint on the game defensively. You could feel him out there. I liked what he did some offensively and helping us keep the ball moving. So I was actually really pleased with what he was doing the last night's game. It also keeps the rotation a little bit the same. He was kind of just replacing Bilal's, starting minutes, so it could keep everybody else in there a little bit of their slot. But we wanted to see him against some of their better players, and I thought he held up pretty well.
You talk about that opportunity to look in the mirror, be self-critical. We ask you so often about players, but are there areas that you feel like you and your coaching staff could have improved last night?
I think we're always going to, I'm not going to give you anything specific, but I think the fact that we look at those things and that we're always looking to get better, I think that's just part of the humility that we have here, that we always have to look for answers for ourselves. We're here to help. We're here to guide. And I think we're always going to be that way. That's something we do every day with our staff.
What did your team do right when you beat Atlanta last week?
We defended really well, and we turned them over. We can talk about the shot making, which is obviously a huge deal. But our defense was really good. And we turned them over, and we established how we want to play, and we turned those turnovers into transition. Obviously, these guys had some huge shooting nights, but we really shared it well, but it started with our defensive end.
When you look back at the turnovers from yesterday's game, was there consistent themes that you saw in some of them?
Probably mostly playing in crowds. Yeah.
Brian, what was your assessment of that pass with his offhand, no look, that Tristan threw from the paint out to the corner? It was on time, on target, led to a made three.
Heck of a pass, for sure. Tristan has some unique skills, and he had them when he first got here, so this is nothing we've taught him. Like, he can see the game in a pretty unique way. It's pretty impressive. He did that from day one. So, it just goes back to his own background, his own coaching that he had growing up. His family obviously played and stuff, but he has a really good feel for the game.
So, I kind of figured it out probably during the film. They told me right before. My preparation was just the same. I approached it like any other game. I just try to stay ready and be prepared for those moments when my name is called. So just staying ready.
Did you have any, we don't know you well enough to know the answer to this already, did you have any nerves ahead of that game at all?
Not really. I just look at it as another basketball game. Just me being prepared. I think I put in a lot of work, and I trust in my work.
When you say you put in a lot of work, what have you been working on mostly?
Really just, defense. I got reps with like go-go and stuff. I feel like they got a great team that helps me and Will and AJ as well, like prepare. Just getting reps going down there and working with the team that they got.
Can you tell me more about the go-go? Like, how does it help your preparation to spend time with them?
I really would say just like offensively, just getting reps, like I said, staying disciplined on defense, guarding multiple guys down there. And, you know, it's a lot of good talent in the G League too, so just being able to get reps is, you know, good enough for me.
There's obviously some level of talent jump as you go from the G League to the NBA. Where does it show up the most in games?
I would say probably just the pace in the game. I feel like the G League games are like way faster because it's like time-based, so it's like I feel like there's not as many calls. You know, I just feel like the game's way faster.
One more go-go question. Is there anyone in the go-go locker room who you've found helps you sharpen your skills in practice?
I feel like they all do. Like I said, it's a lot of talent in the G League. Cody as well, he helps me a lot. Go-go coach, head coach. So yeah, I just feel like that's you know, a blessing for me to go down there and get reps.
How does he help you?
Just like, you know, understanding spots I'm supposed to be in the offense, how he wants me to play defense, what's going to get me on the floor with the Wizards. So just me listening to him, having an open ear.
As we continue to learn your game, how do you describe yourself as a defender? Your strengths and what makes you so unpleasant to play against for opposing players?
I would say I'm a dog defensively. That's all I really got to say about that.
You got the Peyton Pritchard assignment to start the game last night. How'd you feel about going up against him?
I know I've seen a lot of his highlights before, so I'm actually I wasn't shocked that I got somebody that's, you know, high on scoring for them. So I prepared for it like any other game, and I just, you know, hung my head on the scouting report.
What are you learning about what NBA preparation, as far as understanding scouting reports and that kind of thing, is like compared to what you've done previously?
It's a lot of little details. You know, it's a lot of older players, so it's like their game's not changing. So it's really just you understanding how to throw them off and you know, get them out of rhythm to change the game. You know, the top players on the team they're going to get their shots that they're going to get 25 plus shots or 20, however many. So it's just how you can affect it.
How, like, you talk about the little details. Was there one maybe with Pritchard yesterday that stands out to you that you felt like was helpful?
I mean, just as a team, I feel like we understood like what they do well. They get up a lot of threes, so really my job was to really force them into like a lot of tough twos. Staying disciplined, we were switching a lot, so us just guarding individually and just, you know, controlling the ISO game.
What do you feel like you've gotten what do you feel like you've gotten better at the most in the NBA so far, and what do you still want to work on the most?
I feel like my defense is still getting better. I feel like I got another leap for that, and, you know, just shooting, catch and shoot, being a good catch and shoot player. I feel like I'm getting better at that.
Do you have a certain field goal percentage you want to hit with that, or?
I'll probably look at like the field goal, the percentages like towards the end of the year, but I'm just trying to focus on making shots.
With the game like yesterday that kind of gets away from the team, what's the toughest part about playing in a game where there's that wide a margin on the scoreboard?
The toughest part, I would say just encouraging your teammates, because you messing up, you may get in your own head, but, you know, other people are going through other things too. So just encouraging each other and staying within the team.
Who was the player you wanted to play like most growing up, and how has coming to the NBA and maybe playing against that player or similar players potentially changed that?
I wouldn't say I was a player that I wanted to play like. You know, I got like my favorite players in the NBA and stuff like that. You know, KD, I don't think nobody could really play like him. So me just picking apart a bunch of players' game and trying to put it into my game as well as I can, that's what I try to do.
It stayed pretty steady. Just recognizing situations, getting used to being picked up full court, having more physical defenders. And I think it's just a a work that's going to stay in progress.
How have you felt the playing without fouling has gone recently? It seems like it's improved numbers wise.
Yeah, I mean, just try to be more disciplined. Um, I've been able to shade people to where I want them to go, and just making them make the tough shot over tough contest.
After games like last night, tough losses, what are your mentals like in the locker room after a game like that?
It's not easy. I'm not running away from it. I think we're really realistic, but we have good people that are about the right things, and we're ready to get to work and looking forward to the next game.
How do you balance? It's game 21 of 82. You've got 60 games left in the season. How do you balance not wanting to fixate too long on this game, but also not wanting to brush it off and let it be okay, if that makes sense?
I think the goal is realization of where we're at and what we did and what we're doing, because there's always positives and negatives in the games, and just being able to dissect which part, both parts really, and just do what we could control to our best.
5 of 7 yesterday, 6 field goal attempts in the first half, only 1 in the second half. Why the change? Did you feel like you were a little less aggressive in the second half?
Coming down and just trying to do the right play. The shots come, the shots gonna come. I try to stay focused on what we have to do to win, and the shots are gonna come at the end of the day. So I'm not really worried about that.
As your game has improved this year, which it has from last year, you're probably going to creep up higher and higher on opposing teams' scouting reports. How do you feel like you've handled that? Opposing teams giving you that credence?
I think I handled it pretty well. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. It's gonna be good defenders. It's about getting used to them, and yeah, just being focused on the right things and making the right plays, regardless what the coverage is, who's guarding me, and just making the right play down the floor.
You've always kind of focused on your recovery, whether it's been rehabbing from injury or just general recovery. But this stretch where you've been playing under the weather, how much have you really focused on the recovery and the nutrition to aid you in finding the energy capacity to be able to go out there and play in the games, especially with the load that you handle on defense?
It's tough. I felt the effects of the sickness, I'd say. But at the end of the day, I'm ready to play. I'm on the court, and regardless of how much sleep I get, if I'm sick, not sick, if I'm on the court, I'm ready to play. I'm ready to do my job.
Is the toe injury still bothering you at all?
No.
Kyshawn, now that it's been a little time in the season, can you tell us what you've learned the most from CJ and Chris?
Their consistency and their emotions, I'd say. It's like super steady, super calming, and regardless of what happened, they just keep going. You just keep swimming. They know what it takes, and they just come back the next day with the same focus level and the same precision of being a pro and being able to execute what we have to do every day.
How do you think that helps on and off the court?
Well, on you learn from it. You take example. Obviously, they've had longer careers than most of us in this building, and they've accomplished more than most of us in this building. And just learning from that and being ambitious and wanting to do something with your career, you're trying to lean and not mimic, but pick up what you can pick up from those type of people.
Obviously, you and the rest of the team are unsatisfied with the losses, but personally, is there anything about your game that you're unsatisfied with that you're trying to improve?
I think just the consistency in general. You have games I get 2 steals, 3 blocks. In the game I get 0 and 0 and 1 rebound. I think that's something that I need to get better at and make sure that I come out with that leadership mindset of playing defense and gaining possessions and competing hard on the defense.
How do you do that? How do you build consistency in the NBA?
You work, put your head down. I'm trying to figure it out right now, to be honest. But from you focus on the simple stuff that you're capable of doing, and the rest, like the scoring, all the stuff extra, is gonna come within. But I believe if you focus on the stuff that you know how to do and that are good for the team, that's how you build consistency.
What's the toughest part about being in a game where your team is down by as much as you guys were, say, the second half against Boston, both when you're on the court actually playing and then also sitting on the bench?
Just making sure we're not giving into the game. of course, we're all competitors, and being down 30 or 40 is not where we want to be at. We make sure that we play with pride, and like I said, we're doing the right things, and we just keep going until the buzzer sounds. That's it.
How much do you guys miss Alex's defense?
I mean, he does what he does. He was the number 2 pick. He's one of the leading block, shot, rim, contested, everything in the paint defensively for a reason. I think actually our bigs have done a pretty good job, Marvin, Tristan, of being able to fill in that role. But Alex was number 2 pick for a reason. You feel it sometimes that we need him back.
You've thrown some great passes this season and last. What was your take on Tristan's no-look, offhand
It was
pass
nice.
to the corner?
At first, I was like, whoa. And then when I saw it was, nice and soft, right in Will's pocket for the 3, I was really happy he completed that pass, to be honest.
I didn't know he was ambidextrous.
I didn't know either. I discovered it yesterday.
Right. I don't know if he officially is, but it sure looked it, didn't he?
Hey, it got through. Nice left-hand pass. I live with it.
On time and on target.
Exactly.